Hello and welcome back to Bible Basics. Today we're going to be reading Matthew 15, 21 to 28. We're going to be reading the faith of the Canaanite woman. If it's your first time here, I want to start Bible Basics as a resource for new believers or people who want to get to know more about the Bible. I feel like church is great, but I feel like it could be kind of intimidating when you go for the first time and you're hearing about all these characters, all these stories, and you've never heard them before. So I kind of want to do like a deep dive. So a little history on Matthew. Matthew is the author. He's one of the 12 disciples. So he has a first-hand account of Jesus. His intended audience was a Jewish audience to convince him that Jesus was the Messiah. So he will quote the Old Testament frequently to back up his claims. In this chapter, Jesus, in the middle of his ministry, he's gaining popularity, but he's gaining enemies just as quickly. So like I said, we're reading the faith of the Canaanite woman and a little bit of history on Canaan. Canaan and Israel were ancient enemies. They hated each other. They were always at war. They were always fighting. And so they were ancient enemies for a really long time. All right, so I'm going to read it first, and then we're going to break it down and go over it. The faith of the Canaanite woman. Leaving that place, Jesus withdrew to the region of Tyre and Sidon. A Canaanite woman from that vicinity came to him, crying out, "Lord, Son of David, have mercy on me. My daughter is demon-possessed and suffering terribly." Jesus did not answer a word, so his disciples came to him and urged him, "Send her away, for she keeps crying after us." He answered, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel." The woman came and knelt before him. "Lord, help me," she said. He replied, "It is not right to take the children's bread and toss it to the dogs." "Yes, it is, Lord," she said. "Even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from the master's table." Then Jesus said to her, "Woman, you have great faith. Your request is granted." And her daughter was healed at that moment. One thing that I want to highlight is that Jesus' words might sound harsh, but I believe that he was doing this to show his disciples that faith is what saves you ultimately. Not the fact that you were born an Israelite, it's your birthright, but that you have faith in Jesus and God, and that is what will save us. You can be a really good person. You could be going to church 7 days a week, but if you don't accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, you will not be saved. That is the main requirement that God requires for us to go into heaven and to be in relationship with him. There's some things I want to highlight as well. In verse 22, "Lord, Son of David, have mercy on me. My daughter is demon-possessed and suffering terribly." We have to have that same desperation for Jesus. When something is not going our way, we need to be praying constantly, and we need to cry out to God to have mercy on us. We're going through something terrible that we need God more than ever. We need to have that same desperation and that same hunger. And then in verse 24, I want to highlight, Jesus answered, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel." That was Jesus' initial mission on earth. So he would talk to Israelite people. He would go to the synagogues. He would be preaching in them. And that was his main goal at first. But Jesus and God's goal was always to expand it to the rest of the world, to have everyone be able to experience that salvation. But yes, the main goal was the Israelites people, but it was meant to be for the rest of the world as well. And then the last verse I want to highlight is verse 28. Then Jesus said to her, "Woman, you have great faith. Your request is granted," and her daughter was healed at that moment. Our faith is enough for us to see miracles happen, and our faith can heal other people as well. If there's someone that you want to talk about Jesus, or a family member who you think would really benefit from a relationship with God, our faith is enough to save them. We have to be able to intercede for them and to pray and that God does something in their life, but ultimately it will be their decision. But our faith is enough to heal other people as well. And we have to realize that we have that power as children of God to really make that happen and make sure we're using that power to really help people out in our lives. There's a lot of suffering and pain in the world, but we have the ultimate equalizer. We have God on our side. So let's make sure that we're using God to help those around us and make sure that people know that God is out there and God can change their lives. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Next week, we're going to finish Matthew 15. We're going to read the last section and then we'll keep on going. So thank you so much. Any questions, comment down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.